I guess it's tough when you're in the line to sit down and come up when your topic comes, because you don't want to give up your spot in the line, and I totally get that. But I'd like to stay on topic when we talk about this one. So where did I finish off? I can't remember. Go ahead, start us off.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I first like to start off with a comment before my question. Everybody talks about do this for the kids, do this for the future generation. And I was a kid when the firewall letter was addressed to former Premier Ralph Klein, and it addressed all of the similar topics we were talking about today. And I don't know how much progress we made. It doesn't look like there was that much progress. There's been a lot of talk, not so much action. So I implore everybody to learn from the APP, which is the Alberta Prosperity Project, and take back our independence for the children. So my question is to anybody on the panelist, public or private, how do you think we progressed since 2001 when that letter addressed, and if anybody has a burning comment they want to share?
That's a fair question. Premier, you've spoke to this before. I don't know if do you want to take it on? Or
well, you know, I think I'm a lot older than you, but I remember that letter very well, and it's something that it's part of the reason why I've been watching with great interest the Fair Deal panel and some of the public advocacy that has gone on, because these are issues that have been talked about for 20 years. We have to decide: are we going to drop them, or are we going to go to a referendum on them and move forward on them? And that's what we're trying to gauge through these town halls.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name's Nancy, and I don't think that the province should have more authority over spending in areas like health, education, and environmental protection. It should have less. We need to have checks and balances in place so that the provincial government can't make wholesale changes like they have already done that would cause irreparable damage to Albertans. We're supposed to be guaranteed universal health care, but this government is eroding that. We have private surgical clinics with no waiting as long as you can pay the bill. In addition to that, I do not support an Alberta pension plan. The Canada Pension Plan is envied around the world, and the CPP funds are invested at arm's length. Why does the UCP want to put my retirement funds at risk?
Thank you.
I'm asking a question.
Yes.
When provincially run fiscal tools like AIMCO and the Heritage Trust Fund have shown major losses over the past 15 years because of bad investments and spending on right-wing government pet projects.
Thank you. It's almost like that one was prepared for the evening. Let's go over here. Yeah, we can go over here.
In the constitutional changes video, healthcare was a focus for aspects that the Alberta government should have more sovereignty over. In 2022, you, Danielle Smith, said, does a regular checkup for your doctor really have to be something that is covered 100% by government? This time last summer, I was diagnosed with a rare and aggressive kind of cancer known as soft tissue sarcoma in my neck. Aside from the surgery and the subsequent radiation treatment, a checkup with my family doctor was the very first step in my survival. Checkups are not just some superfluous treatment methods that are overshadowed by surgeries and more invasive procedures. They are absolutely critical. And the more barriers you put between people and their doctor, the more people will die. So my question... So my question for this administration is this: why do you believe that you know better than every healthcare expert in this province and this country? Why do you think we should have to fight tooth and nail for our right to healthcare?
Thank you. I literally never heard anybody say that they thought that. But I will tell you this: you look to have recovered well. Voice is going great. Happy and proud of you. Good for you. Super. Got it. You got it. You might. Go ahead.
Well, Bruce.
On constitutional changes. Go ahead.
Bruce.
Hey there.
Bruce.
Time's going.
Bruce.
Okay. Alberta workers are being screwed over. So.
Hang on.
Hey, I got my
Could
time.
we just
Hang on. We'll
stop.
restart the clock. Premier, you wanted to say something.
I don't want people yelling about healthcare and saying I'm not answering. When I got elected as leader in February of 2023, I signed an agreement with the federal government for a long-term 10-year funding agreement, which committed to the principles of the Canada Health Act, which says no one can pay out of pocket for medically necessary care, which means doctor's visits and surgical visits. So we have a 10-year agreement that is ironclad with the federal government. That's what I've signed on to, and that is what we have committed to. The COVID shots were delisted. They were defunded by the federal government. They were defunded by the federal government.
Okay.
The federal government was paying for them for the last 3 years, and they defunded them. And so we had to make a choice about how to best provide those services to those who need them the most without wasting $234 million, which is the equivalent value of the amount of COVID shots that were thrown away over the past 3 years. It's not bullshit. It's true.
What?
It's absolutely true.
Okay.
We have made RSV shots available to those who need them. Others have to pay out of pocket $300. Shingles shots are paid out of pocket. Yellow fever shots are paid out of pocket. There are lots of different types of vaccines that are paid for out of pocket. We've got the right balance. Now that we have to pay for it because the federal government defunded it, contact the federal government. If they wanted to continue funding it, then they wouldn't have saddled us with an additional $134 million. So that's one of the things that we're adjusting to. I will also say 87% of Albertans chose not to get the COVID shot last year.
Okay. I'm just gonna ask for a collective inhale and exhale. Okay. The topic was constitutional changes. And I don't think that's what we're talking about anymore. So let's do our best. And this guy yelling, like, knock it off or I'll ask you to leave. Like, especially your language. Okay? Like, just knock it off or I'll ask somebody to get you out of here. Jesus, like, you don't reward a toddler in the grocery store and give them what they want. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. Working class people in Alberta are being screwed. It is the work that we do, the labor that we do, that creates all the wealth in society, that makes society possible. And we should be the ones running it. But that is not the system we have, a federal, provincial, any kind of level like that. What we have is governments for the bankers, for the landlords, for the insurance industry, for the oil barons whose goldfish brain lackeys sit here before you. If you want prosperity for ordinary people in Alberta, we're going to have to fight for it. We're going to have to excise these parasites, working people.
X the mic. Here's the thing. Like, you can. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Like, I mean, you can act like an ass and get your 30 seconds of fame, but then you'll just be asked to leave, and you're kind of wrecking it for everybody else that actually came here to speak to the Premier and the panel and hear a good discussion. Would you agree? Like, honestly, like, I think there's been people here that disagree entirely with the government tonight and have made very good points, very respectfully. Is that really that hard for adults to do? It shouldn't be. So let's start over here.
Hi, my name's Michelle, and I've been an Albertan since I was 6 years old. I've also had the privilege of being a civil servant in the provincial government for over 20 years of my working career. With that, I feel I have some insights. I don't have the statistics and facts and other things I care to throw out on each and every issue, but I would like to lend my voice to those that say these questions are not what we need to address right now. We need to address the values that I think are important to Albertans about how we care for one another, how we educate one another, how we take care of our health, how we provide equality in services to all, how we support those who are having trouble supporting themselves. These are the values I thought represented Alberta, and I don't see that.
Thank you. Thank you. I assure you the government spends a lot of time on those issues as well. But tonight, let's try and talk about the Alberta-Ottawa relationship and what you think and where we should go. Go ahead.
Hello. In short, yes, I do think that the government should pursue these constitutional changes. I did stand up to speak to the pension, and so I'd like to speak to that. One, I think the problem is because pension comes out automatically, most people do not understand what their lifetime contributions are versus what they're getting out. So it would be very helpful to have someone say, this is what the average person who retired in 2024 is getting, and go back to the age of 18 and say, this is what the average contribution is, to help us really understand that issue. Second, a superior pension would be every person into your named account with your money and your portion of it going to your dependents when you die. Thank you.
Thank you. Constitutional changes. Over here.
Hi, my name is Lauren, and I just retired a couple days ago. So,
congratulations.
Yeah. But with respect to the Constitution, one of the things that is going through my mind is the fact that, you know what, Alberta was created arbitrarily by the Dominion of Canada. The boundaries of Alberta were established in 1905. Alberta didn't come along. It wasn't a separate country. It wasn't a separate province. It was actually in 1870, the amalgamation of Rupert Land and the Northwest Territories. Alberta was a section of that created by Parliament. Now, what's my point? My point is that arbitrarily Alberta inherited mineral wealth in the form of petroleum. Yeah. It was a quirk of fate, you might say. So, you know what? My family, I have grandfather born in Minburn, ranched. They used to run a rodeo there. My great uncle, my grandfather was a family doctor down in Drumheller. I've been in Alberta 38 years, so my point is I'm an Albertan. But you know what? First and foremost, I consider myself a Canadian.
Okay. Thank you.
A Canadian? No, I'm not Canadian.
You're 2 minutes in, man. Get to your point.
Okay, sorry. A point. Okay, just a couple.
Not points. A couple. What's the point?
That's the point. The point is that with respect to the Constitution, we have to look at the history and the legal framework within, and finally, last point.
Gotcha.
The Aboriginal people.
Thank you. Bruce. You know history and the Constitution, these kinds of things. This gentleman is making some good points, just taking a long time to get there. Do you want to add to that?
You're quite correct, of course. Alberta and Saskatchewan were created at the same time in 1905. There's a little bit of a history there. But the fact is they're now equal with every other province. I mean, there's no first and second class provinces depending on your historical origins. All right? That's the main point I want to make. Secondly, with respect to us being so lucky with our oil and gas reserves, I would point out that I think that overlooks the competent way that they have been managed by the government and the skilled people in the sector that have developed it. I would point out that Venezuela has far more in the way of oil reserves than we do, and look at the mess they're in. So let's give ourselves some credit.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so I've got like a 2-minute call again. Let's get to a couple. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll just have to be general here because you've gone way past my topic. I would like to say, as others have, I am a proud Canadian. I was a proud Albertan. I do not like what this government is doing.
Okay. Thank you.
I find them to be very divisive and separatist. And why can't they just carry on and have a relationship with the federal government instead of complaining about everything they do? It's always the feds' problem. I don't need the rest of my time. That's it.
Thank you.
Can I just respond to that, please?
Yes. Sure, Bruce.
There was an act called the Impact Assessment Act, and this province referred it to the courts for an opinion as to whether it was constitutional or not. Our Court of Appeal ruled it was unconstitutional, or gave the opinion it was unconstitutional. That was upheld 5-2 by the Supreme Court of Canada. And rather than respecting the opinions of the Supreme Court of Canada, the federal government basically made a couple of minor changes that affected nothing. And that act is still on the books, and it's still a detriment not only to Alberta, but to most provinces that want to develop their resources. So to say that Ottawa wants a good relationship with the provinces, I think I'd be a little skeptical on that, because if they wanted it, they would follow the opinion of the Supreme Court of Canada and abolish that act.
Okay. Let's give the last word to this person at the microphone over here.
Sorry. My name is Catherine. I'm from Edmonton. Alberta is upset about equal representation in Ottawa, but why can't we start by setting the example at home? Equal representation is when my vote in Edmonton South is just as powerful as a vote in Lesser Slave Lake. MLAs are not distributed evenly across the province, just like they are not distributed evenly across Canada. However, rural Alberta does have special interests which have to be considered, just like other provinces may have special interests that also have to be considered. I know I have the opinion that one person's vote should never be worth more than someone else's.
Right.
But I also know that I don't know the needs of someone in rural Alberta any more than I do in someone in Atlantic Canada. But I do know that they are all part of my community, so I do care.
Yes.
And I also care that when the logic we're applying to this, we also will apply the same logic when the commission comes out sometime in the next few.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I was thinking as this lady was asking or making her point, we do have a capital region MLA here, Brandon Lunty, and I hear an awful lot from him and others in our caucus about the importance of this region and area. Brandon, do you want to speak? Do you want to speak to it at all?
Sure. Thanks, Bruce.
Just hang on one second. Honestly, just please. It's not that hard. God almighty. Go ahead, Brennan.
Right, well, sticking to the constitutional changes question, we've heard a lot of good conversation on that and on some other topics. But full disclosure, I was 10 years old when Charlottetown Accord was voted on, so don't have all the expertise. I know there'd be some challenges when you look at these constitutional changes. We noted in the video there could be a lot of other issues. But I want to touch on two really quick, which is respecting the way the Constitution is currently written and making sure that we respect the provincial provisions in those is really important. The judge brought up an excellent example with court cases where Alberta needs the federal government to respect what's in the Constitution. We also need to look at some of the parts that are in there, including the federal spending power, which if that was respected, and so we did have an opt-out option, it would make us much more balanced and much more whole fiscally when it came to all these issues. So those are two examples that we could really look at that would really help Alberta and make sure that it's a lot more fair playing field.
Thank you, Brandon. Should we do the straw poll? We should do the straw poll. Okay. Should Alberta take a lead role in working with other provinces to pressure the federal government to amend the Canadian Constitution to empower and better protect provincial rights? Yes. Who says yes? Okay. Who says no? And the yeas have it. Thank you. And again, thank you to the great majority of you who are here for the right reasons. Let's go to immigration